Welcome to our CES 2025 update, where the intersection of technology and marketing is taking center stage. This year's Consumer Electronics Show showcases how innovations in AI, data analytics, and immersive technologies are transforming the advertising landscape completely. Here is a look at some of the game-changing trends that are emerging from this year's show. First up, at one end, artificial intelligence is leading the way in revolutionizing how brands engage with the consumers. At CES 2025, AI-driven platforms are enabling hyper-personalized marketing, where ads are in fact tailored in real time basis a user's preference, behavior, even emotions for that matter. These intelligent systems promise to make marketing even more relevant, increasing engagement as well as conversion rates. And then we have immersive advertising with AR, which is augmented reality, and VR, that are reshaping how brands interact with the customers. At CES, companies are in fact showcasing new ways to deliver immersive advertising experiences. And then voice-activated technology is rapidly becoming a powerful tool for marketers. CES highlights how brands are integrating their messaging into powerful and popular smart assistants like Amazon, Google Assistant, and Apple Siri. These trends are just a tip of the iceberg, by the way. As we bring you all of these updates, we are also catching up with a few leaders on ground to get you the best from this tech show. First up, we have Omnicom Media Group CEO Florian Adamski, who's speaking about key areas of innovation that media companies should in fact focus on to stay competitive in 2025.
I'm at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and catching up with me, we have Omnicom Media Group CEO Florian Adamski. Welcome to CNBC TV 18. So many of the larger trends that I'm picking up at CES is, of course, last year it was all about AI. This year, how AI can be applied for practical use cases is what is the talk of the town at Las Vegas. Florian, what are some of the things that you're picking up for your business, for advertising, and at large?
So first of all, thanks for having me again. Okay, we spoke last year, and you just summarized it completely accurately. Last year was all about the promise of AI use cases that might be possible at some point in the near future. 2025 is when things will actually take off, when AI is putting the smart in homes, when AI is actually putting autonomous in cars and intelligence in your voice assistant. So this is something that we see across the board, but really, if you look at marketing, probably we have a true turning point in history. We see a real Zeitenwende, which is like really an inflection point where, starting with generative AI, social, sports, gaming, e-commerce, we see drastic changes in consumer behavior, and AI is going to help to facilitate these changes. It's going to be a lot about simplification, about making interaction easier, smoother, interoperability. We will see much more of an interplay between human and machine, human and the system. I think on the human side, we will have a huge wave of reskilling ahead of us, where humans learn to not lead AI, but actually accept and do co-work with AI, overseeing it, setting targets, doing quality control. And on the system side, we more and more see autonomous systems orchestrating and really proactively activating media, content, and social posting. So I think that 2025, you will really see marketing take off with the help of AI. We have a lot of use cases that clients are testing with us in terms of pilots. We're also updating our own agency system, Omni, which will get a new assistant, Omni Assist 3.0, which is exciting news for us and our clients, and we'll showcase that during CES. So I think this one might be the year of the breakthrough as opposed to promise from last.
And what are some of the questions that you're getting from your clients when it comes to the rapid changing and also advancements in technology that's happening around us? So much of change. So what are some of the questions, and how are you becoming like the true partners, so to speak, in this entire ecosystem?
So I think you can summarize the questions as, They want us to be leaner, faster, cheaper, and more impactful, right? That is a summary of what agencies are being requested to do by their clients. How do you take technology, put it in your system, and root away from a legacy industry that was very much driven by so-called FTEs, by manual work, to a new world where less people are needed to create more speed, more scale, and ultimately higher ROI in the ultimate outcome, the business outcome for our clients. That is, of course, something we have been talking about to clients for many, many years. But I would say the expectation to move at speed and also the competitiveness between agencies are at an unprecedented level, which some people find scary. I find it rather invigorating, and it is interesting to see how agencies that probably have been moving slowly over a number of years are now moving at very high speed, often ahead of the curve as it relates to other industries. But clients really, really want to see us moving. And let's be clear, clients are also building their own in-house teams. That is a trend that continues also driven by AI. So our ability to work with clients and their in-house teams becomes more relevant than ever.
And moving away from legacy is something that you said, and I'm going to pick on that. Do you think legacy is a bad word in today's advertising and marketing industry?
I think legacy is a word that is being overused, and it's being contextualized as something negative. I think legacy is the foundation upon which we work. However, if you look at the foundation and you look at it as a large numbers of data, of experience, of impact that we can draw upon, now with new technology, I think it is easier to put things into context much, much faster. If you look, for example, at the way we create audiences and activate against audiences, that used to be something that would take us days and weeks. Now it's something that we can do in minutes. So again, the legacy forms the foundation on which we work. The technology makes us facilitate the knowledge, the vast realm of information that we have much quicker than ever.
And how has the role of a media group within a holding company changed or evolved over the past many years? And how do you foresee it changing going forward?
Now, I think many, many clients do realize that moving media agencies upstream to co-create audiences, to co-create the ultimate brief, to understand what outcomes need to be, what data to use and to put into the process in order to find better, faster business impact has drastically changed. I think what we're seeing at CES now and the technology solutions that become more and more available will only emphasize and accelerate and augment what I was describing here. So I think that there's going to be an overall renaissance of media agencies, creative agencies, other forms of agencies coming together in a way where everything is connected. Because right now the biggest problem with marketing, and it has been a problem for many years, but it is only accelerating, is fragmentation. It remains the biggest problem. There are studies where up to $200 billion on the left on the table in terms of raw value that clients can't unlock because all the different components of their marketing ecosystem are not connected. And technology like AI will help us to do that. And that also will mean that I think the very silo specialization of agencies will come to an end, and we'll see them coming together, merging capabilities and competencies, all in favor of our clients.
Okay. What excites you the most about leading, Omnicom Media Group at the time of this rapid change and transformation as a leader?
You see, if you have 150,000 people come to the desert in Nevada, that tells you something about how interesting and fascinating these times are. And I described the competitiveness between agencies earlier, and the fact that we need to reskill, retrain our people also means that I have to reskill and retrain almost every single day. Even after 28 years, I feel often like I'm not where I want to be in terms of ahead of the curve. So there's so much to learn. It's faster than ever. It is more relevant than ever. And I think this inflection point is sharper than ever. So I couldn't be happier with where I am right now. I understand that some people might find it daunting. I find it highly
You mentioned fragmentation as one of the challenges, but apart from fragmentation, what are the other challenges that media colleague companies and media agency groups face today?
Look, I think overall we need to start with the consumer, right? We build our businesses around consumers, and there are global trends which we can't escape. For example, Gen Z, the United States right now, that is a global trend. More than 60% of these people actually find their appearance in virtual worlds more important than in the physical world. These trends are accelerating. These trends are more and more diverse across different demographics, different cultures around the globe. And so putting these pieces together becomes more and more complex. So again, fragmentation translates into complexity. We need to media agency holding companies also with their offerings and the many disciplines and practice areas that they have built. They need to battle complexity, find the ease of use, find applications that work for clients, and put away with the internal complexity of the past.
And what are the key areas of innovation do you think media agencies and media marketing groups should apply within to stay ahead, in 2025?
So the first one I think I referenced earlier at the top here is the way that search marketing is changing is the most prevalent, most obvious change in the way we operate. Gone are the days where you were clicking into search ads, and we're moving into a world where search behavior is much changed. So we have less clicks, less eyeballs on website, but much more relevant conversion rates. That means that a media agency would actually have to invest into different ways, skill sets, to technology, in staying relevant to this new type of environment. So again, applying technology to new use cases, virtual worlds. I can see last lying glasses here on the table, coming up with smart use cases around how to apply technology to real life situations for different target audiences. I think that is where media agencies need to focus.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for this conversation and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
It is time for a short break, but stay tuned in for more updates as we dive deeper into tech transforming the marketing landscape at CES 2025. And we'll get you all the action from CES next week. Federal Bank is engaging with local communities through many cultural initiatives across the country around the Indian festivals such as Navratri, Durga Puja and Dussehra and Onam and more. This brand is also consciously becoming a part of key cultural moments and occasions like Independence Day and the ongoing Grand Indian wedding season. Recently, they tapped into art forms such as Chakyarkoothu, Theyyam and Kathakali to guide and educate their consumers in Kerala about mental health, interpersonal interactions amongst kids, understanding money management, and more. How have all of these initiatives helped the bank establish a strong emotional connect to the audience? What is the kind of impact on the brand so far? Let's find out from MVS Murthy, Chief Marketing Officer, Federal Bank. Welcome to CNBC TV 18.
Thank you, Shibani, for having me on your show.
So let's begin the conversation with the most recent activation or activity that you did in Kerala with some of these art forms like Kathakali.
Yes.
If you can tell us more, where did the idea stem from?
Yes. So, Shibani, I think I'm very proud to tell you that we are perhaps the only brand globally who has been able to pull off this coup. And there are ingredients which are responsible for it. So, the art forms that you mentioned, Kathakali, Chakyarkoothu, Ottam Tullal and Theyyam, are traditional art forms which are at least about 1200 years old. Okay, and they are still relevant at this point in time. However, we live in a generation which is full of digital and social media. So, people live around scrolling. And for them to understand the nuances of the art form is very difficult. It's like, kids not connecting, saying there is a generation gap. So in one of my travels, when I had gone to a place around Calicut, I had noticed these Kathakali artisans and, they were getting ready and stuff like that. I said, why can't we make this art form relevant here? It was just a thought. This is about 3 years back that I'm talking to you about. And then it's kept simmering. And then we said, why don't we bring this art form in the present day and start talking to kids?
Yeah.
And what do you want to talk to kids about? You want to talk to kids about, say, good touch and bad touch. You want to talk to them about managing their teen years. Kerala is a place where a lot of people live till their late 80s and the 90s. And invariably as an adult or as a senior citizen, you end up having dementia or Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So how do you manage the elderly in the house who suddenly goes blank and, is unable to communicate? So we thought that all of this will make a nice package. And we also thought that being a bank, teaching them about financial planning is going to be a great idea. And we piloted this across about 10, 12 schools, and we're going to be doing it across more schools. I must tell you that the energy in every school, when the kids saw all of these artists coming in from various classrooms, and they were absolutely surprised, is of a different level. And why do I say it's like a convergence of time? Because for any brand, you need to have an art form which is 1,200-year-old. You need to be entrenched in that region or geography for that long to understand the nuance of the art form. And the third, you need to have an audience, even if you want to repurpose. Because if these three things don't come together, then you won't have the concoction that I'm talking to you about.
Yeah, and this is something so niche. So what are some of the elements of imbibing such, traditional cultural art forms into like your storytelling? What are some of the elements that you consider while doing this?
See, the most important thing for us as a bank is that we are a bank which is more predominant in tier 2, tier 3 towns, okay? And there maybe an ATL is not the way to go out and reach to the local population. So my branch becomes the core of every activity that I go out and do. And I start looking around and preening, saying that what is there around my branch which is very, very special for that particular location or for that particular pin code. Because if I focus only on that, it is good enough for my business. I'll give you one more example. In Adayar, we have one of our oldest branches, and we did a program called as I am Adayar, Adayar is me. What we did was that we got the oldest citizens of Adayars to come to the branch and spoke about their stories. So the older citizens could be a surgeon, a very senior journalist who has retired now. It can be a sports person. It can be a teacher who's there. But these are the people who really make a pin code what it is. And we as a bank are servicing that pin code, and we are very happy and humble to have them as our customers. So when you tell stories of people is when the branch sort of, gets accentuated. And what happened was that the book of the branch for the first time crossed 100 crores.
Yeah.
So I think consumers come for the experience. They come because they want to feel special. Otherwise, banking is commoditized, right?
Picking up these stories and picking up these cultural moments is also like a very sensitive topic, considering, the diversity of our country. So how do you ensure that, you are measuring and considering the sensitivities of, that particular region?
So when you keep looking at happy stories like this, I am Adayar, Adayar is me, what I spoke to you about. Or when you look at the art form also, it's a happy space because kids want to know how do they go out and conduct themselves. There's something that we did for Independence Day also. When you look for happy spaces, you come at a place where everybody is in it together. If you can use culture the other way, you want to stir a controversy or you want to pick up on a controversial thing and then you want to go out and build, it works for some brands. It doesn't work for our brand. And being a bank, it is very important for me to be in a space of, happy lifestyle, being able to support my customers in the life stage that they are in. And these stories can be spoken with a lot of joy rather than stirring up a controversy. So we keep looking at saying that what is the most common denominator of happiness in a space? And that's where we operate.
Happiness is one factor. How do you ensure that they sound genuine to that particular culture, to that particular region?
So if you can't fake it, don't make it. All right. So
what are the potential pitfalls as well, if you can?
The pitfall is, like, for example, if I pick up a cause which, say, some other brand is picking up and doing it, I will not be able to pull off. I have to be myself. Authenticity is very important, when it comes to brands. The other thing is that at every given moment of time, something or the other is happening. So if you can't walk in and be the part and play the part, the consumer understands. If you'll find that it's very, very flaky. The second thing that the consumer wants is that he or she wants to be represented well, in honesty, with as much as integrity as possible. So when we spoke about these stories, the consumers were saying their own story. There were no filters, so to say. And they were absolutely raw people. And you could find that there were tears of joy. The eyes went moist when they said, this is my picture and has been showcased here. You have an 82-year-old journalist, who's retired and he's living there. And he says, and the pride that you have to call your grandchildren to have a look at it, to call your spouse. It's just a different kind of a thing. And then it does not look like the other part that we avoided. And when I said the book went up, is to push for a product sale. Because then, it's a giveaway, saying that this is why these people want to go out and come. Definitely you will go out and, engage in that relationship. And it finally goes back into our premise as a brand, which is Rishta Aap Se Hai, सिर्फ ऐप से नहीं.
You know, in a country where every second day, any other campaign, even for big national brands, let's say like Tanishq, face such a huge backlash for over bindi, over, speaking about something to do with weddings or festivals. How do you ensure that that doesn't happen with some of your cultural initiatives
So this
and
is a
campaigns?
mathematical thought,
Yeah.
okay? However strong the numerator is, the denominator will pull the numerator down. So you need to understand what is the denominator opinion about anything which is happening around you. I can have all the chutzpah and I can be very swashbuckling and think that this is what I want to go out and say. But you need to be sensitive to what is happening. And at the end of the day, when your brand is affected, it is not just the brand or the riffraff which happens on the social media, which really is like, pins coming to you, but also your stock gets affected. And as a CMO or as a marketing person, you need to be very, very conscious, because the marketing department is one, but it has got multiple personalities. And now with the way media has got fragmented, you can get poked from any side.
Finally, before we go, what makes, because considering your experience in creating these campaigns, which are culturally relevant, what makes imbibing culture a key aspect of modern marketing?
So I think marketers, whether ancient, modern or upcoming, should be people who are willing to have a, haversack or a knapsack on their shoulders and going out and exploring as many places as they can. Because the kind of nuances that you can get about an emerging trend, about how somebody looks at a tattoo, about how somebody looks at her earring, or how somebody looks at a piece of watch is just amazing. You cannot predict what a consumer wants. And some of the insights that you get from your travels could be completely, they can be game changers. Like, for example, this whole thing of consciousness around plastic. What is happening? So we are somebody who's very conscious about our ESG scores and stuff like that. And that nuance is what we have brought into our everyday work. You will not find plastic bottles inside a Federal Bank office or even in our boardrooms. We consciously bring in glass. But this is something that we have learned from what is happening outside. So if you're not traveling, if you're not going far, if you're not going wide, then you will not have the perspective. And what I told you earlier, it is very important for us to learn from the emerging industries, because as a bank, we have a legacy of being in business, globally, as an industry. And we are learning from the new folks who are coming in and are, setting up business which are just shooting up. So it keeps the entire thing very exciting, and that's the key. You need to travel.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me over.